morning. I'm Mayor Tommy Roberts. Welcome back to the Mayor's Table. My guest this morning is City Manager Rob Mays. And Rob, welcome back.
It's good to be back with you, Mr. Mayor.
Rob, since we last talked, we've been in discussions and negotiations, and the council has actually taken some action on a new brand of baseball in the amateur baseball capital of the world.
That's right.
Which is Farmington, New Mexico. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
That's right.
We have put into place an agreement with the American Amateur Baseball Congress and a group of private individuals to host at Ricketts Park during this next summer a collegiate baseball team. And I'm excited about it. I think it's something that's past due. I've long been interested in the idea that we might be able to bring an affiliated baseball team, and by affiliated I mean affiliated with a professional baseball team, and to bring an organization into Farmington and to provide a different brand of baseball for our citizens in Farmington and San Juan County. This is probably a step below that. It's definitely amateur baseball, but collegiate baseball has been around the United States for many, many, many years. When I was in college and playing a little bit of baseball, there were many places throughout the United States that had baseball leagues for collegiate baseball players during the summertime. And so we're just taking off on that idea. It's an idea that was proposed to the city of Farmington, again, by a group of private individuals, along with the American Amateur Baseball Congress, which is the organization that sponsors the level of baseball that we have in Farmington for all age groups of boys. So I want to talk about the collegiate baseball program from the city's perspective. And so if you would, just start us off from the beginning and talk about how this idea was brought forward.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, as far back as I can remember, and long before I was involved, there's been different contacts from different groups expressing an interest about bringing some type of the next level, and at different times we've had concerns whether it really would necessarily be a higher level of baseball than we have now, and we've had concerns obviously about maintaining our priority and reputation as the amateur baseball capital of the world, and that's what really appealed to us about this, that it was the next level of the amateur baseball world. The city's role is really like it is in so many other things. We're a significant partner, but we're really kind of an independent third party. We own the facilities, and we maintain the facilities, and we make those facilities available for all kinds of uses, from the Connie Mack World Series, in essence is independent, but it partners with the city, AABC, high school sports, all the things that we do. So this is a scenario where a group has entered into a contract, a memorandum of understanding with the city to have use of that facility for June and into the first week of July for that purpose.
It's a 5-year contract. It is terminable by either side upon 30 days, or I'm saying 90 days notice to the other party. So although it's 5 years, there is some flexibility on the part of either side to the agreement to terminate it if things don't work out. So it's very much the idea is obviously that it would be successful and that it will be something that's sustained in our community for many years to come, and we hope that that's the case. But we do have the protection as a city that if things don't work out as we anticipated, if there are issues that we didn't anticipate, then we will have the recourse to revisit those issues, and if we can't come to some resolution of issues, then we always have that right to cancel the contract. Let's talk about the commitments that the city of Farmington is making under the terms of the contract.
Yeah. Well, first the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is also semi-independent from the city, but ultimately the city is the taxing authority that funds the CVB. They're actually an initial sponsor of this league, sponsoring about $20,000 towards housing, hotel lodging for the players when they're here. And then the city's contribution this year is that we're foregoing any rental income from the use of the facility, but that's not uncommon. We don't charge the school's rent, we don't charge Connie Mack rent. The city's here to facilitate quality of life services and opportunities for economic development and attractions to the area. So that's what we're here to do. So we will not make any rent on the facility, and then we will also cover in-kind sponsorship the maintenance of the field throughout the season.
The hotel sponsorship that is being provided by the Convention and Visitors Bureau, I want to point out, is to provide lodging for those players coming in from out of town associated with the teams who will be playing our Farmington Collegiate Baseball team. And I believe this is going to be a 6-team league. My understanding is that there are 3 teams from California who will participate and who will be coming to Farmington to play a set of 6 games, or 5 or 6 games. And there's a team from Nevada and I believe Arizona and possibly one from Colorado. So Farmington will be the only New Mexico team in this first year, and Farmington will not do any traveling. But so it's field maintenance, it's field use that the city of Farmington will be contributing in kind toward. What is the consideration that the city of Farmington is receiving?
Well, you know, the first and foremost consideration is, again, as I mentioned, we don't really do things in the city for the purpose of making money. We do things to provide services and opportunities for the public and to increase quality of life. But in this case, there actually are some significant considerations. One is that the Baseball League will be installing a very expensive, high-tech, large Jumbotron screen that once it's installed, it becomes the property of the city of Farmington. And so that is certainly something that will benefit all of our user groups, CONIMAC World Series, high school graduations, the other high school sports that are there. So this will be a great addition to that facility, and one that the community will enjoy for many, many years. In addition to that, the city will receive 10% of the gross revenue from the advertising on that Jumbotron.
So that you really couldn't incur that kind of an expense for a scoreboard, a Jumbotron of this quality, unless you had the opportunity to generate some revenue through advertising. So digital advertising will be a significant stream of revenue for the owners and investors in this baseball organization, and we've negotiated a share of that revenue, and I think you mentioned 10% of that revenue stream. We don't know how much that will be, but certainly we think that that's a legitimate form of consideration and compensation to the city.
And as we said, even if the revenue itself doesn't amount to that much, we're getting the actual value of that scoreboard as a fixed asset that will be constructed and installed at our stadium and will be available for others to use as well under certain criteria. So that's a win-win, we think.
And in moving forward with the decision to enter into this agreement, I was very much persuaded by the idea that we ought to be doing what we can to get people to come to Ricketts Park. It's an outstanding amateur baseball facility. It's one of the top amateur baseball facilities in the country. And frankly, over the last several years, there haven't been that many people who are actually going into Ricketts Park. During the regular CONIMAC season, it's only a handful of people each evening who are down there. They're family members of players, friends of players, but probably I'd be surprised if there are 100 people a night during the CONIMAC League during the summertime. Obviously, we get a tremendous amount of attendance at our CONIMAC World Series, which is a week-long event, but that's only 1 week per year. So I feel very much compelled by the idea that we ought to be doing something that may increase the traffic in and out of Ricketts Park as a city facility, and that's better utilized as a taxpayer facility. I think this has the potential to increase that traffic in and out of the facility.
Yeah, it's a great facility. It needs to be used. It's in high demand. Every team likes to play there. I think it's important to point out that negotiations with AABC were done in advance with the city league. They'll be using sharing the facility on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then the new college league has it from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just during those about 5 weeks. Then there's the time the city tournament will be held there as always. There'll be adequate rest, about 10 days between the city tournament and the start of the Connie Mack World Series. So it's a busy facility. Everybody wants to be on it. But as you said, we really have a responsibility as city leaders to be sure that it's used at its highest and best outcomes to spur economic development and quality of life and creating an attraction for people to enjoy here.
And it's an important point to make, I think, that we have an opportunity through the contract to revisit the terms of the contract each year. So if the ownership of the Collegiate Club is doing very well, they're making some money, then we would feel comfortable, I think, going back and talking about field rental,
Yes.
payment for maintenance costs, things of that sort. And I feel very comfortable that we
Well, we
would be able to
actually
do that.
we actually advanced negotiated some of those things as that those are things that we would want to look at in any renegotiations that came forward. So
Well, we've had a good process, I think, that resulted in the agreement, and I think that we're all looking forward to the opening date. That opening date, I understand now, is going to be June 8th, which is a Thursday. And so there'll be a team in from California or Nevada or Arizona who will come in for a Thursday game and a doubleheader on Friday and a doubleheader on Saturday and a single game on Sunday. So over the course of 4 days, people will have an opportunity to see what we hope is a pretty good brand of baseball. And it's going to I think, provide another quality of life experience for the people of Farmington and San Juan County, and we're hopeful that people take advantage of it. I think it's also important to point out that the owners have named the team the Farmington Frackers, and the term Frackers could be somewhat controversial depending upon your worldview, but from my perspective, the name is symbolic of the history of Farmington. We have probably a 70-year to 80-year history of oil and gas development in San Juan County in the Farmington area, and it very much represents that history of oil and gas development. Fracking, the process of fracking, has been around for that long, or nearly that long. And so it should be, in my opinion, viewed as a very positive statement about our history. And typically it's fun to name things that represent the history of the area, and that's what's been done here. So I commend the organizers on the selection of that name. I think it will prove to be a marketing benefit for them as well.
Yeah.
Rob, is there anything else that you think we should bring up in the context of the city's perspective about this upcoming collegiate baseball season?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I want to thank you for all of the work that you did in moving this process forward, and we very much appreciate the efforts of Corey Styron, who's the director of our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Division, and Corey put a lot of thought and effort into the process, and I think we've got a product both in agreement form and the product that will go on the field that we can be proud of, and I think it's something that we can all get behind.
Well, looking forward to some of those summer nights out there. There's nothing like summer baseball at Ricketts Park.
That's right. Rob, thanks again.
Absolutely.
I want to thank all of you for joining us here this morning on the Mayor's Table, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next Monday.